So Coach David Quinn is a Boston University alum and played on the hockey team for all 4 years he was a student. He was an All-Hockey East and All-New England defenseman at BU and co-captain during his senior year. Quinn's coaching career began in 1994 as an assistant at Northeastern University. In July 1996, Quinn was named the top assistant coach and head recruiter for the University of Nebraska-Omaha. He left Nebraska-Omaha and became a developmental coach for USA Hockey. In 2004, Quinn came back to campus and became BU Hockey's associate head coach, a role he served in for 5 seasons under Jack Parker. In 2009, he served as head coach for the Lake Erie Monsters of the AHL, and in 2012, assistant coach for the NHL Colorado Avalanche. On March 26, 2013, Boston University announced Coach Quinn as the 11th head coach of the men's ice hockey team, and we are thrilled to have him here tonight. Please join me in welcoming Coach David Quinn.
Can everybody hear me if I talk without the mic?
Yeah. Perfect.
A lot of coaching voice.
Yeah. Well, so Coach Quinn, we asked students to submit questions ahead of time, and I want to begin kind of by discussing the topic of coaching. So, what are the similarities and differences between coaching in NHL hockey and collegiate hockey?
Well, the biggest difference is they get paid a lot more money up in the NHL, and it's amazing. At the NHL level, it's a lot less of a, I don't want to say a dictatorship, but you really have to be aware of the age and of the experience of the player that you're dealing with. For example, last year in Colorado, we had a player by the name of Milan Hajduk, who played 18 years in the National Hockey League. He's won 3 Stanley Cups. He's a 1,000-point scorer. You handle him a lot different than you would Matt Duchesne, who's 21 years old, who could be a senior at BU. And he's, probably was our best player, but just very young. Sometimes you lose sight of the fact that these guys, even though they're making millions of dollars, they're still 21, 22 years old. They could be students here. So, at the NHL level, you have such a wide range of ages, whereas at the collegiate level, you got ages between 18 and 22. And, still, you don't handle an 18-year-old the same way you would handle a 22-year-old, but there isn't much of a difference in your approach with a college student as opposed to when you're coaching in the NHL.
Now, when you're actually playing the game, how much of the decision-making is based on gut or instinct versus on statistics?
A lot of it is based on gut. I'm a big believer in you play those who play well get rewarded with further play. And many times during the course of the season this year, someone may be on the 4th line, and by the middle of the second period, they're on the 2nd line. That's happened many times during the course of the season so far this year. Especially at the collegiate level. It's another difference between the NHL. The NHL, you almost give guys more of an opportunity to maybe play through a bad game. You have 80 games. Guys have maybe developed more of a base of good play or a reputation. So, you almost let a guy play through a longer period of time when he's not playing well. Whereas at the collegiate level, it's a shorter season. You don't have that luxury. So you really have to be conscientious of playing the best players who are playing well at that particular time.
Coach, now could you run through your daily schedule? Is there something that's routine? Or?
I sleep till noon. I get up and have lunch. Usually I'm in the office between 8 and 8:30, depending on the day. Usually Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays are probably the busiest time. People ask me all the time, game days are really the easiest, believe it or not, because a lot of our work is done between Monday and Thursday, in particular Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And usually you get there, especially for me, the biggest difference, it's amazing, before I became the head coach here, I always envisioned what it would be like to be a head coach at any Division I college, let alone BU, and you think you know what the job entails, and then you get the job and you're like, whoa, this is a lot more than I envisioned it being. You're responsible for every aspect of the program, obviously you're in control of the academics, you're making sure the kids are going to school, making sure they're on top of their grades, you're making sure that socially everything goes well, and so far so good this year. I wake up every Sunday morning holding my breath, making sure I don't get a call from an RA or somebody. It's amazing what you're involved in. Agganis Arena will come to me and ask me what type of T-shirt I want to hand out for maybe a promotion we're doing, and I don't have any background in handing out T-shirts, so I have no idea. So, you know, my day is very busy in so many areas. You know, coaching pro hockey, that's all you do is coach. I mean, everything is about coaching and handling your players and video and all that stuff. And you really have to discipline yourself as a head coach at the collegiate level to really set aside a lot of time to make sure that you're taking care of that, because you can get distracted by a lot of other things being the head coach in a college. And so my day starts about 8:30. I get in there, you know, video stuff. I like to watch video. I go downstairs to the coach's room where my office is upstairs in Agganis. But I usually go downstairs to the coach's locker room and I watch video because I won't get distracted, no phone calls or whatnot. I usually do a lot of video work in the morning. I'll go up, phone calls, emails, alumni stuff, friends of hockey stuff, have lunch, plan practice. Guys get there about 1:30. I start going downstairs, maybe talking to players, showing them clips, individual clips, and then practice will start at 3 o'clock. And depending on the day, we'll get off the ice 4:30, 4:45. I'll stay around a little bit more. And usually get a workout in after, and then I'll be home by about 6:30 or 7. So, wow. And then usually make some phone calls, recruiting and stuff. So it's people always ask me, particularly in the summer, what do you do in the summer? I'm like, what do I do in the summer? There's a lot going on in the summer.
Sometimes more in the summer.
Exactly.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite part about being a coach, or is there any, what's the most challenging, moments that you've experienced as a coach?
My favorite part, and really what drew me back to college hockey, is the relationship with the players. I've mentioned this a few times, that when I was coaching in Colorado, there was a 1-week stretch where the Avalanche played the St. Louis Blues, and Kevin Shattuck is on that team, who was on our 2009 National Championship team. That was on a Monday. Wednesday, we played the Nashville Predators, and Colin Wilson's on that team, who was on our team in 2009. And then 3 days later, we went out and played the Anaheim Ducks, and Nick Bonino, who also played on the 2009 National Championship team, was on that team. And the night before each of those games, all three of those guys wanted to go to dinner. That obviously maintained a relationship with them. We're friends, texting, calling each other, hey coach, let's go to dinner. You just can't do that at the pro level. And it struck me, it was the biggest thing I missed getting out of college hockey and getting into pro hockey, the relationships and the friendships you build when you coach college sports. And so that was the thing I missed the most, and ironically, shortly thereafter, Jack retired, and lo and behold, I was fortunate enough to get this job.
Now, besides coaching, what other organizational roles do you undertake that most fans wouldn't know about?
We do a lot of work with Autism Speaks, so I'm in contact with Larry Cancro, who is a big supporter of BU hockey. He's vice president of the Boston Red Sox, actually, class of '78, I think. And he is the director, one of the directors of the Autism Speaks program. Our players do a lot of work with the autism program. So I'm involved in that. The Friends of Hockey group is a very big group. It really helps us maintain an opportunity to be an elite program. It allows us financially to compete with all the other Big Ten schools. The Big Ten schools that have an endless amount of money to travel the right way and run their program at the first at a grade A level. And our Friends group does an awful lot to supplement our program. Travel first class. It allows our players the proper tutors they need in order to maintain the grade point averages and to obviously get their degrees and manage the academic side of it and the athletic side of it, because that can be difficult. It allows them to go to summer school. It allows us scholarship money for managers. So we meet probably every 5 weeks, and I'll oversee the board for the Friends group. So stuff like that we just, and the alumni work. I do a lot of work with the development office and helping them raise money. So.
That's great. Now I want to transition more into the player development side. So what is the recruiting process like for BU hockey, and have you changed it, or do you plan on changing it at all from what it was previously?
The hockey recruiting has gotten completely out of control. I can't tell you how many times we'll sit across, kid will come in and he's a freshman in high school or a sophomore in high school, and I'm like, but the way things have happened, these kids we're in such an instant gratification society, and these kids that are very good players that have been identified as the top 15, 16-year-olds, they're looking for scholarships right away. And changed about 15, probably 10 years ago, where schools started committing to sophomores in high school. And we, had to, in order to, you're watching the best 15-year-olds and you see a kid that's a big-time player, Michigan offers them, BC offers them, you feel compelled to, stay in the arms race, and you need to get, you feel like you have to get involved in doing it. So, unfortunately, that's what's happened. We've been very lucky that when we have committed to kids that age, they've turned out to be very good players. But I think you can all think back to when you were 15 or 16 and how you are today. You're completely different people. And usually when you commit to a 15 or 16-year-old, when they show up on campus at the age of 18, they're just different. But you roll the dice, you're trying to figure out which kids have a good foundation, and they're all going to change, but you're hoping they're going to change for the better. But our recruiting process is three parts to it. Obviously, on the athletic side of it, we obviously identify the best players that fit our style. And then after we do that, we look into their academic and their social background. And we have eliminated, at least when I was here, we eliminated many very good players, first-round draft picks that wanted to come to BU because A, they weren't serious about school, or C, socially, there were some questions about them socially and character-wise.
Mm-hmm. Now, how much of an impact do facilities like the Gannis Arena have in bringing players to the school? I know, the weight center, the fitness center in the Gannis Arena, is that a critical part?
Absolutely. It really, put us, not that we weren't on the map, obviously we've got a long history here and a lot of success, but when we built the Gannis Arena, it certainly made recruiting a lot easier. It just, on a national scale, it allowed us to compete. Not that we weren't before, but it just gave us a little bit of a leg up against the Michigans, the Wisconsins, the schools that historically were, they would win more battles against us than we would. And it just, when you have a facility like that, the great thing is a lot of the NHL teams, when they come play the Bruins, they'll practice at Gannis, and it's fun for our players to watch NHL practices, but it's also fun for our players to see the way the NHL guys react when they come to Gannis. I mean, when I coached in the National Hockey League in Colorado, I had nothing on. The facilities in Colorado had nothing, weren't even close to what we have here at BU. So it certainly gives us a leg up in recruiting.
Now, speaking of facilities, this January the team will be playing Maine at Fenway Park in Frozen Fenway. How are your preparations different for playing outdoor hockey versus indoor hockey, and what excites you most about playing at Fenway Park?
Well, I'm a huge Red Sox fan, so that excites me first and foremost. I know what it has meant to a lot of people that have played in the game. I don't know if we have. I think we only have a few people on our team that have actually played in the game. I left. The game was played in 2010. I was already gone, so I haven't been part of it. But obviously, it's such a unique experience. You hear the people that have played in it and coached in it, and what a great experience it is. To be honest with you, I haven't thought much about that game. I'm in coach mode. I'm thinking about Merrimack Friday night. So, the good news is. It's our second game after the Christmas break. We have a 3-week break, actually. Our last game's the 14th of December, and then we don't play again until the 4th of January. So we'll have a break there, and I'll probably start thinking about if there's anything tactical or strategical that have to be different.
Now, how much of a difference does home ice make? I know on Saturday night we'll be playing in the Gannis Arena, and the students who have come tonight will actually be giving them tickets to be able to go to the game. Is it huge to have student support and a big student section, rooting for BU?
Well, so far it has for us because we've won a road game, so it's 6 or 7. It was 6-2 at home. So, for us it's a big advantage. We've got great crowd support. Our student section is lively. It gives us a true home ice advantage. Our players appreciate it immensely. They understand what this sport means to the school, and it's an opportunity for people to get behind BU. And, obviously for the student body here, it's a lot of our players are going to have a chance to play after BU, and it'll be fun to, on Wednesday night when it's on NBC Sports, you can turn on TV and probably see a former Terrier on TV. And I went to school with him. He was in my management class, or he was in my journalism class. So it's a lot of fun for our guys because obviously it's an unbelievable facility. We have a great fan base, and we have a great student section, so it certainly gives us a leg up.
Definitely. Now, what do you think is the legacy of BU hockey, and how do you plan on building on that?
Well, the legacy obviously started with Jack Kelly when he won was here for 10 years and won 2 national championships in '71 and '72. And then he retired, and he went on to pro hockey, actually to retire. And then Coach Parker took over, and for 40 years just kind of carried what Coach Kelly had instilled as what identified BU hockey. And that was what made me so proud about what happened at Madison Square Garden on Saturday night. We played Cornell, who was I think the 8th in the country. We beat them 3-2. The refereeing was terrible. They had 6 power plays, we had 1. I haven't said that all year. I usually blame our players for the penalties, but in this particular case, it was ECAC referees. That's the league that Cornell plays in. We overcame a lot of obstacles. One of the things, Jack Kelly was incredibly competitive. He had a will and a drive to win. There were no excuses, and that's what we did on Saturday night. And we just found a way to win. We did everything we could to make sure that we did win, which was special for us because the trophy, since we played Cornell every other year at Madison Square Garden, 2 board of trustees, one from Cornell, one from BU, made up a trophy. And this was the first year they were giving the trophy out. And the trophy was going to be named after Jack Kelly and Ned Harkness. Ned Harkness was the longtime coach at Cornell in the 60s and 70s, and BU and Cornell had the rivalry in all of college hockey back then. So the trophy was going to be named either Kelly Harkness if BU won on Saturday night, or Harkness Kelly if Cornell won on Saturday night. So that game had huge implications on the trophy, and we won, so now it's Kelly Harkness, and Jack Kelly's very happy about it.
Now, what was your college education like here at BU, and how did it help you get to where you are today?
Well, my story's a little bit, I'm not going to bore you with it, I'll give you the Cliff Note version. I came to BU, I was very lucky, I got drafted in the first round before I got here. I had a lot of injury problems when I was here, in particular during my freshman year and during my sophomore year. After my sophomore year, I was diagnosed with hemophilia, which is a blood clotting disorder. I had to quit playing. Obviously, it was a devastating time for me. I thought I was going to play in the National Hockey League for a long time. I certainly had aspirations and goals to play on the '88 Olympic team. So to get sidetracked at the age of 20 and have hockey taken away from you was a traumatic experience for me at the time. I threw a pity party for myself for about 1.5 years and then got over that in a hurry. Thank God Coach Parker stuck by me. I was able to get my education. Became a sociology major, which I loved. Funny story to that, after I got my degree, I went home and my father said, great, now what do you do, open up your own sociology office? So, but I loved it, and it certainly served me well in coaching, and after that, I got into coaching shortly thereafter, and my first opportunity was to coach at Northeastern with Ben Smith, who was my assistant coach at BU, and improved me.
Definitely. Now, my final question is, what advice would you give to students who are interested in a career in coaching or in sports management?
Well, first of all, if you love it, you'll succeed in it. I've never made one decision based on money. The one thing that I know that I always did was I did something. Every job I took was a job that I felt was going to make me a better coach. So if you want to get into coaching, put yourself in a position where you're going to surround yourself or work for people that are good people, that are good mentors, that you can learn from. You go and you do a good job and you're a good person, they're going to obviously sell you or help you move along in the profession, and fortunately for me, that's what happened. Same thing in the sports management. I mean, you hear the stories about the Theo Epsteins of the world, who intern at out in San Diego, and they just do a great job, and there's something about them. There's a work ethic, there's a personality, there's a drive, there's a passion, and people pay attention to that. People pay attention to that, and it's, to me, that would be the advice I would give anybody here, whether you aspire to get into coaching or on the management side of it. Find the people that are going to help you along the way, and then do a great job for them. And just, I can't tell you how important it is to be a good person and don't take shortcuts. A lot of people in sports or in life in general, they take shortcuts, or they're not true to themselves, or they want the process to happen fast. And there's no shortcuts in what we do. Whether it be coaching or management, Theo Epstein and Ben Cherington, I use those guys as an example. They're quality people. They work hard, they're smart, but they're quality people, and they never lost sight of that. They understood how important it was to work with others and treat people the right way, and that goes a long, long way. Because if you can be the smartest guy in the room, but if you're not treating people right, you're going nowhere. And to me, that's something that my father taught me, and hopefully I took his advice. And to me, that would be the advice I would give everybody here. Obviously, you have to put yourself in a situation where you can impress people, but you want to impress them with your work ethic and doing things the right way, not with any flamboyant or trying to climb over somebody to move ahead.
Well, Coach Quinn, on behalf of the Sports Management Association and all the students that are here, I just want to thank you for your time today. It really means a lot that you were able to teach us what it means to be a coach, and I'm sure everyone here was able to learn a lot as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.